Germany. We're already 1/3 of the way through the summer split, which means that teams are going to need every win to keep their season finals dreams alive. I'm Frankie, joined by Broxer and Endo, and what on earth is going on here?
What are they doing?
I think they're trying to solve a mystery.
Oh, they're really getting down.
Oh, BD.
They got SK.
They did. SK have definitely aged in the last week.
Yeah, if it wasn't for those meddling kids, they could have had it. Unlucky.
The BDS gang. We are the BEF gang, though, today, because we've got Broxer joining us.
Yeah, great to be back. Looking forward to
those are initials. Okay, tough start.
I like to think of myself as a host who really makes their analysts think, and you don't have to think.
You stumped me right
very
there.
hard,
right
and
yeah,
that really bodes well for this weekend, doesn't it? Right, let's check out the current state of the league, where against all the odds, Team Heretics is tied in first place after an undefeated first week. Broxer, can you believe it?
Actually, I can, because I would argue the offseason went pretty well for them. Bringing in Vetio from Excel, bringing in FLICKR was absolutely amazing in the first week. And, you know, Jankos has always been great. He just needed someone around him to help step up as well.
100%. I think, in my opinion, I think in a lot of people's opinions, he was the best jungler in the BO1s in last split. The man was absolutely lights out, and that was with not always lanes that were able to support him. But I think what they showed in the first week already was the ability to generate advantages through both mid lane and bot lane. Now they're just off to the races, but they're going to have to do really, really well because they need a 4th place minimum finish after playoffs to even have a chance to make it into season finals. And I'm still looking at them to shore up some of the decision making in the mid to late game. That first game, things got away from them a little bit, so there's still some work to be done, but this is a fantastic start to get the ball rolling.
Yeah, it's almost on the rest of the other teams to really up their game this week. One word that Leader used in an interview last week to describe the state of some of the teams right now is disgusting. I don't think I agree with him. I think more mildly disappointing in some cases, but it was really great to see Heretics fighting. And it was also fantastic to see Mad Lions as well, because we didn't know what to expect from them after MSI. A disappointing performance, but international competition, Mad Lions, that's not necessarily where we expect to see the best from them.
They have a tough track record, but here at home, they've been doing fantastically. And I think they came back and decided to play like a very calm, structured style of League of Legends, right? Drafting scaling options, drafting for the team fight, that's historically where they've always been very, very good. And you saw that where it wasn't like super explosive early game advantages in every single game. It was them taking smart fights, getting prio, and really bullying teams around neutral objectives.
And one thing I love about Mad is that if they mess up early game, it rarely actually matters because they're so good at slowing the game down and just playing smart and controlled in mid and late game, winning just by team fighting, really.
Yeah. Well, Fanatics also had some changes, and their new bot laner in particular, Noah, had a fantastic debut. So let's find out more about him in his newcomer interview.
My name is Noah, 21 years old. I'm from Korea, in Daegu. 2017, December start league. 2020 and 2021 in LCK start pro gamer. I was in KT. I didn't have some basics or thinking, so I learned many things in KT. And this Zero Tenacity is just I want to show my upgraded skills.
And who are your favorite champions?
Easier.
So how would you describe your playstyle?
Very aggressive. I like damage trade and spell trade, and sometimes ADC 1 against 1, so I want like this matchup. My friend Cheshi, I want to win him and put on his put on his hair, my hands.
Oh,
this.
Do you have any interests outside of League of Legends? Anything you do in your free time?
Only League of Legends, and sometimes League of Legends do Q solo. So I playing Q time in Steam games or Jump King or other type of
I can't wait to see some hair ruffled tomorrow because Fnatic are going to play Mad Lions, so definitely tune in for that one. But Broxer, I imagine you tuned in and saw the pleasant surprise of Noah making that debut last week because it was really quite something.
Yeah, for sure. He was amazing in pretty much every way. Not only his personality, of course. Like, I swear that interview had some serious Hooney vibes. But he was so good in the AD carry role. He barely ever died. He played really aggressive. He was confident. And I don't think I've seen an AD carry this strong in Europe for a very long time, so hopefully he can keep it up in these following weeks.
I mean, he showed the ability to generate leads in the early game, right? Like the game one with Turnbees of Thresh finding a lot of picks, but also his team fighting. Here he dodges away from the Rakan W, and then the second that is down, he knows he can step forward. He's always playing right on that edge within the team fights where he can pump out the maximum amount of damage while, playing around these cooldown windows of the engage of the opposite side. This fight was a great example, but he did it consistently throughout the week.
He's definitely bringing a lot of discipline over from his LCK days. The other thing that we sometimes notice, though, when we get imports from Eastern regions is the communications issue. But clearly Noah's bringing ideas to Fnatic, and even though he doesn't necessarily speak the most English, he's obviously managing to translate those ideas to the game.
It's worth noting that usually, and there's exceptions, but usually the AD carry is not the one in professional teams talking the most. It often comes down to, the rest of the guys helping set up vision, set up control to help the AD carry team fight, right? So if it was a supporter jungler, for example, I would be really worried because those are the ones who have to control the early mid game and set up vision and whatnot. But in this case, like, even if he's just playing muted, if he plays this way in team fights, I wouldn't even care. Winnable for sure.
Also spoken like a true jungler, Broxer. BDS did have a disappointing week one on the other side of things, especially that Astralis game on Monday as well. And do you think they can turn things around?
I mean, yes. Look, this team, what they showed us in spring was absolutely fantastic. That was the S tier performance everyone expecting. Week one, maybe a D tier. They can get the ball rolling, get back to a B, eventually work into the S. That's what they're going to need to be. But I think for me, the disappointment came from their sort of lack to generate the same early game leads that they were doing so reliably throughout spring. They've talked a little bit about trying some stylistic changes with, maybe moving carry positions around to show off what Shio can do inside of the jungle. But to me, this team was always at its best when it was playing more scaling options on the bot side, looking for the team fights, and really just fighting around objectives. Their dragging control was unmatched last split.
And I have to say, if there's ever a time that you want to move your carry position into the jungle, it probably shouldn't be now with Vi, with Maokai, with Sejuani, and so many strong hyper carries in the AD carry role. I want to see, just standard smart drafts from BDS, play to their streams, and of course, just find out what on earth is happening in the early game, because every lane, solo lanes in particular, was a disaster the first week, and they got to clean that up to at the very least survive for 15 minutes before the game's over.
I mean, I know I'm not the expert here. It doesn't feel like BDS were that affected by playing on patch 13.11. But there were definitely some teams that took Nico by her non-existent chameleon horns and took her onto the rift.
She can transform into.
Well, exactly. She probably can turn into something horny if she's got someone with horns on her team, like an Ornn on her team. She can become an Ornn.
Yeah,
she can become horny.
He's got so many horns, actually. It's crazy. No, I mean, the Nico, we saw the good and the bad, I think. Cap showed both of that in his game. Of course, the early game finding ways to generate advantages, and then with, the pink ward transform, fighting a 4v5 was a little bit more suspect. Overall, I think this champion is, of course, very, very strong for the ability mainly to hide that initial cast of the ult, guarantee the knockup. It is such a team fight changing ability, but I think we saw a couple of times, and that last clip was a perfect example, the lack of coordination where there was no follow-up behind it or it wasn't missing, because if that Nico ult doesn't connect on multiple players, you're just in the middle of the enemy team, you are dead and completely worthless.
And that is the big downside to it, right? Because traditionally, Europe has been looking the best with just scaling in mid and AD carry, playing for late game team fights.
Here, the Corki,
exactly,
yes.
All the good old boring stuff. But now we have this exciting champion that, is so unique and so different because it requires a lot of aggression, creativity, of course has a unique way of getting picks. And it can work, but so far it's been mostly a disaster in the LEC.
Are you feeling for Static Shiv, though?
No, I mean, look, maybe we see it on the Corki, maybe we see it on the Azir, some free wave clear. No, honestly, I think we saw mainly the Static Shiv coming through with the LeBlanc last week. Obviously, the just ability to decimate minion waves is so powerful. LeBlanc and other champions like Ahri can sort of supercharge that as well with the distance travel, really getting multiple procs off of that passive. So I think it is definitely here to stay, and we're going to see more people experimenting with it this week.
And I think the pros are probably absolutely delighted about that one because we've seen 3 days on our current patch. And I think we should actually hear what the pros do have to say about the 13.11 meta.
I wanted to talk to you about the meta.
Oh, is that one? Okay.
What has changed in summer? Has a lot changed? Not much. How do you see the meta currently going into summer?
I mean, I'm having a blast playing it. I can't say like any bad words, right?
Broken.
I didn't have so much fun playing the game in a while.
Oh, mamma mia.
Yeah, right now it seems like it's very AD heavy meta where it's just protect the president.
Everyone plays for bot, like you will see mid laner roaming bot, jungler ganking bot only and living top on an island. So I guess we are the main characters.
Everything is revolved around having a strong AD carry basically. That's why you play tanks top lane.
Cassante, Gragas, Ornn,
And you just build like a strong team fight.
Ari, Lissandra, like Annie, Nico, just like CC things.
And then there are a lot of item changes.
I don't like the way they change the ADC items. They feel more gimmicky.
I like the items. I think they're kind of fun. With Stormraiser, you have to generally.
Trinity is also looking very juicy right now. I think you can pick it on a lot of jumps.
Trinity Force buffs are great for top lane. You see champions even like Camille that are going away from Sunderer into Trinity Force.
Trinity is good champion for Draven or something, sometimes Sherry or Ezreal, but not good all champion.
Yeah, I go Triforce and Kindred now. It's kind of nice. I think this Triforce item is really OP. But right now, I think AD cards can be like very flexible, I would say.
It doesn't seem like you just go for the same build every game no matter what. Aurelia got cheaper, right? And the Moonstone, so that's nice.
I mean, I really like the changes because it feels like I can build more than like 2 items usually.
The items are also a reason why enchanters are more meta than like tank supports.
And what about the teleport changes? Unleash teleport being 10 minutes?
Unleash TP at 10 minutes is great. I've been involved in a lot more plays, you know, around mid, bot, Drake.
Yeah, when I play tank, I think I like.
So when you play carry, you want to be top lane?
Yeah, because I need farm.
I like the change because I think top lane was a bit in a rough spot. Like they have really strong champions, but they just can't impact the map like all the other roles can, right?
So every time I use my teleport, my coach flames me and says I should save it for bot, you know.
Enemy's finally here, Vito's finally here, but it's a double TP, and they're going to make it work!
So Milio is now enabled for LEC. What are your thoughts on the champion?
Broken.
That champ is actually like probably the highest prior first pick in the game.
I'm telling you, Dracos, Milio is broken right now. Your AD carry doesn't have to go cleanse. You have so much extra range for your AD carry.
I think second Yumi. Yumi just click, game win. Like Milio, click E, click W, click R, win.
Like it's strong in lane and it has like a lot of utility. Offensive with the attack range and stuff, shields, and also like defensive with like AoE cleanse, right? So your AD can take like Ghost or heal.
I think it's broken, but I think it has also like weak points. It's not like unplayable, you know? But I usually ban him in solo queue with Nico. I don't know if you're gonna ask about this champ, but...
I was going to ask, what do you think about the Nico rework?
Nah, bro, I don't know.
I can't say like any bad words, right?
I mean, you can, but I'll censor you.
Fucking broken champion. I think Nico need delete.
I'm having a blast playing it.
Nico is really fun. Every week turning into minions seems like a lot of fun, and I can't wait to try it out on stage.
That's the sickest movement we've ever seen on a little melee creep.
I mean, I don't know about AI there for these creep. Oh my god, no way!
If you do well with the passive on stage, in like a 30-minute game, you go into a minion or you go into a champ, people will lose focus. So it's like massive value, I think. Very strong, very strong.
I think it's kind of fun. She has a very high skill ceiling because there's a lot of like neat little tricks you can do with vision and turning into different champs, and you can really mind game people. So I think in that aspect, she's really fun to play, but I think she's lacking a little bit of counterplay because you cannot see the art.
You just need to learn to play against it, like get more used to it. Nico's engage is very OP, but also people are not very good at playing against it.
Enough about our meta. Let's check out what's going on internationally as we're playing Guess the Region. A clip of a tier 1 region is going to be played, and our analysts and you guys at home have to guess where it's from. But you've only got 5 seconds from when the clip ends to lock in your answer. So yeah, don't forget to play along in chat for bragging rights. And you guys, are you ready? Do you feel confident? Have you been staying up at all hours, keeping up with things across the world?
No.
Not really.
Don't admit to that, just lie. Let's see clip number 1.
Okay, what do we got here? Okay, so we don't get nameplates. That's got Xin Zhao?
Holy Nautilus. Oh, the emotes. I can respect that.
I think I know what this is already.
This is some cooking they've done in draft here already. You just know? How do you know?
I'm like, have I seen this before? What is going on?
This feels kind of suspect. I mean, I'm gonna need to... Okay, bot lane's just leaving at level 1. Viego is inside the enemy jungle way too deep. Gets exhausted, absolutely murdered. Okay. Wow, a curious invade.
Reveal your answers, please. Come on, quick. The answer is LCK.
What?
I thought that had NA written all over it. Like, no offense.
I thought it was either LPL or it was gonna be another region.
I'm so disappointed in you two, so we're going to move swiftly on to clip number 2.
All right, well, LCK, guys, what are we doing? You had no price, level 1. Base race nonsense.
Huh.
Okay. Cassiopeia. I was gonna say probably LEC before Cassio, but
that's a
now I'm
very
confused.
fed Yumi lane as well.
Monster fed lane, actually. The Triforce nonsense, yeah.
I think I got this.
You think you got it?
Yeah.
See, I was hoping the Riot Games banner was gonna say like LCS or something.
All right, lock your answers now. The answer is other.
It's other.
It's the LLA. Congratulations,
There's too many
Broxer.
options. How are we supposed to guess that?
All right, 1-0, clip number 3. Let's roll it.
I'm really not very good at this game.
You've got time. You've got 2 more clips to get better. Come on.
Let's see.
Oriana? Have we played Oriana?
I can give you a hint. No, not last weekend.
I already know.
You know? The
Stop the tape. Stop the tape. I already know.
There is a huge hint on this screen because one of these champions is not in the patch right now that we're playing.
And nothing else matters.
Huh.
Yeah, that's my hint to you, but I'm not going to say anything else.
Oh no. I'm gonna choke.
All right, here we go. LCS.
It's the Rel. It's the Rel. Of course it's LCS.
Not playable in our patch, but playable in 13-12. Let's check out the last clip, please.
Yeah, I was literally tuning into LCS last night. I'm like, they're picking Rel at every game. Oh, they're on 13-12.
I didn't pay attention to Rel. I'm trolling.
Oh, Karthus bot lane.
Wait.
Holy.
Ivan.
Ivern, Fiora, Karth. This is...
This one?
What is happening in this game?
I know one region that played Ivan, but...
Part of my brain is telling me LPL, but I feel like that can't be right.
LPL Ivan?
No, LPL Ivan, you're wrong. Yeah. Okay.
Reveal your cards. LCS other. What are you saying by other, though?
Other. I'm saying it's not the big 4. I'm saying it's another one of them.
I can tell you are correct. It's Brox's solo queue, because who else is playing Ivan right now?
Wait, what?
It's actually my solo queue.
I nailed it. Other. Yeah, perfect.
They played it in NA.
Oh, did they
There's 2
actually?
games in NA. That's why I thought it was NA.
Oh, well, there you go.
Honestly, I was looking at him like, if you told me like Unicorns of Love, like back in the day, had played this, that would have been my guess. Like not LEC Unicorns.
I wish I had recognized that game. That would be next level.
I know you're desperate to discuss this one, but we actually do need to get on with the rest of the show. Because to face these teams internationally, our LEC teams will need to reach the season finals. And because you did win 2-1, Ender, you actually get to answer the questions that everyone has about championship points. So take it away. Broxy, you lost, so you have to clean up.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, so there are 3,628,800 possible scenarios remaining here in the LEC. So I'm going to run you through each of them. This is the first scenario. As you can see, summer placement, championship points, and LEC finals, what the placement means for all of that. So scenario number 1, G2 in first. Scenario number 2, they have G2 in second. Scenario number 3 would have G2 in third. Scenario number 4, you can see how it affects over on that side. Scenario number 5. Scenario number 6. And scenario number 7.
Seriously.
Then you'd have scenario number 8.
Seriously.
Excuse me?
3.6 million. Can I save this?
We're almost halfway there.
Yeah, okay, no, I'm saving this. Ender, have you learned nothing? Get off.
This scenario is not on the list.
Move over. 3.6 million scenarios, and he wants to take you through
What I
one by
said.
one. Have you learned nothing? Seriously.
I'm doing analysis.
Hi, everybody. I'm Quickshot, and I'm actually going to help explain this in a way that makes more sense. First of all, let me help educate the youth today. Ender, you're using the wrong tool. Get a pen out and take some notes. Production, can we change to the correct one? Right. So Ender did set the scene. In order to make Worlds, you need to make season finals. That far you got. But can I make it more simple?
Go
Our
ahead.
viewers are, they're Redditors, so that means you really simplify it.
wall?
Take a look at this.
Where did you...
Listen, I live back there. This is my home, right? If we look at Excel, in 17% of all scenarios remaining in the top 16, making the top 10, they only advance with a minimum of a third place, right? So what this means is if they win the summer split, they get to season finals.
1,482,000.
I can't believe he's memorized 3.6 million. But
no, it's on the sheet.
If they place third, Ender, only 6% of those 3.6 million. What's the number of that? How many scenarios are there? You do the math on that one.
I just told you that. 1 million.
The next thing is, because we are the LEC, I think the next question we have to answer for the viewers is how does Fnatic make it to season finals and possibly by Worlds, right? So when I look at Fnatic, minimum place of 4th and only 2% of those scenarios they get there. If they place second, right, 95% of the 3.6 million scenarios gets them out there. Give me a random number on the sheet.
400,072.
That would make sense. That would make sense. And of course, because we are gearing up for our first game of the day and where BDS will be competing, let's take a look at Team BDS as soon as I click on this one.
Excuse me?
Yes.
In which scenario did someone ask?
I mean, the only one that matters, the LEC primary stream. Take a look at this. Ender, look. If BDS place in top 4 at the end of the summer split, the guaranteed season finals, and look at the scenarios, even if they go 6 or 7, still 80% of all those scenarios. Obviously, this is a lot to comprehend. 3.6 million of them. He wanted to read all of them. Dude, seriously. Like, you can't do that.
Time.
We're going to carry on. Let's go talk to Go to One with Trouble. But dude, like, you can't run through 3.6 million. It's a 30. We've got the interview. Carry on with the interview. I need to teach him. Seriously, dude. Like, what were you I'm so disappointed.
Thank you very much, Trevor. I have with me Go to One, head coach of BDS. Thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you.
And something that has always been asked is that the guys look always so happy. Even in the content, they look like they want to do the content, which is great for you guys. They have great performances. Spring Split went great as well. And I know you're very involved in the team's routine in general. So what does one day of the routine look like?
I mean, we always try to, official to put some rules, right? We try to let them have as much space individually as possible. But sometimes they know like exactly, okay, I don't know, like I would say 2 hours before match, we do this, 1 hour we do this, 30 minutes we do this. Like we make sure that they know exactly what's going on, and they can also, because they all have different routines, right? Like some nights like to take a nap, some doesn't need to, some plays more solo queue. So we try to adapt as much as possible for everyone's needs. And I think we found a right balance. And at the same time, I think like maybe the audience doesn't understand sometimes, but when you play, for example, today at 6 p.m., you have like more free time before the game than in the studio, than at 7 or 8. So also we need small adaptations depending on the time that we play. But overall, I think you just like make sure they all know exactly what's going on at which time, like be really precise.
Sounds good. You guys give them a schedule and then they can work around that. Now, how does that sort of chime in with your scrim time? Because you said you give them a lot of freedom, but can they just go out and do whatever they want? Or in that freedom time, they're supposed to play solo queue?
No, it's like they're still around because it's really important to be as a team also. So they need to be close to each other and to the staff and to the org. But at the same time, they do what they need and depending on how they feel as well. So it all depends on them. I trust them. They have responsibilities. They should be not treated as kids, right? They're still like young, but they should be adults at some point. So we just I give them responsibilities and I trust them to give their best no matter what. So we let them have free time. At the same time, they need to be around and we need to build this team spirit.
Talking about team spirit, you guys had a rough start of the week last week, going 1 and 2, but you had a fantastic end to the spring split. How is the team feeling after week 1?
I mean, I will not lie. I think we were a bit disappointed after week 1, not only because we lost, but also because we tried new things and it didn't work out at the end. So we need to do some adjustments. So, mental was still okay. We just needed to go through it, as every teams, right? So, but the good part is, like as you said, we did a good job in spring, so we know we can be a good team. So we just need to not fall down after one bad week, right? We just need to keep our heads up and just like go hard on this week. That's the most important.
Can't wait to see you guys bounce back. Gottman, thank you so much for joining me on the interview. Good luck on your game versus SK. And Frankie, back to you guys.
Thank you very much. It was definitely a surprise last week that BDS did have such a slow start to the split. It's something we've seen from them before, but at the same time, this is a team that made it to the split finals last spring. And SK as well, yes, it was a while without a win, but again, they're a team that we know can fight their way out.
Yeah, it was spring for BDS, it was winter for SK, and in the case of BDS, what they used to be so good at was they would generate a ton of advantages on their own. I think Shio was a fantastic player for reading the enemy jungler, always showing up to counter gank, you know, get inside the enemy jungle, so it just enabled the lanes to sort of play freely on their own, and then transition their advantages around the map. Specifically up in top lane, Adam was always good on his own, and then would roam down for the classic Drake fight where they would be able to convert off it. Adam all of a sudden is getting punished up there in the top lane and not able to influence the rest of the map though.
Yeah, and I think that's definitely a big problem. Something else just came to my mind after watching that interview. He said the players have free time. We just watched Noah earlier. He's like, what do you do in your free time? He says, I play League of Legends, only League of Legends. Maybe that's where the problem lies, really. Outside of that...
Well, you
think they're not working hard
daily
enough?
reps of Jump King in as well. That's very important.
No, I mean, I didn't have free time as a League Pro. What a change.
When did you nap?
Nap?
These players, they're having naps scheduled in, they're having solo queue scheduled in.
Naps? We are really
They have
LCK
French
now.
players, they need
know,
their naps.
In the past it was like you had to take breaks so the LCK players could sleep. Anyways.
Yes, so talking about their opponents, I guess, then, SK, this is a team that when they burst onto the scene at the start of the year, obviously they've been in the scene a while, but this particular lineup, the fact that they came out fighting so strong and Exakick was central to that, but that seems to have fallen by the wayside a bit. They don't seem to be having the impact that they did before.
Yeah, I think that back all the way in winter, he was really, really strong and it was working, but I don't know, I've seen some questionable things from sort of like the bot lane, like some disconnect between him and Doss with engages going in when Exakick doesn't necessarily want to fight. And obviously when you don't have those advantage early games, it becomes much harder later in the game too, because the rest of the team has been struggling on top of that.
Yeah, I think the problem is it's not only in the mid and late game that they mess up as a team. Like these guys are just straight up getting outplayed 2v2 and struggling in every single phase of the game. And SK has shown in the past that they need Irrelevant to be a stable rock in top lane. They need Exakick to be able to carry those mid and late game team fights. But in order to even make it to that point, you need at the very least a decent early game. And these guys have a lot of work to do in order to make it to that point.
Yeah, I was just gonna say too that like we when you see the individual pieces, like they look strong, right? Like Irrelevant was always near the top of like solo kills, like which was just crazy to think about because I never really thought of him as a super flashy player. His Gragas has a huge influence inside of the team fights as well, but both these teams really have to shore up their early games in order to actually stabilize when they come into the team fights, and then on top of that, find ways for their top laners to influence and team fight with the rest of the team, because that was a staple of the strength of both these teams when they were strong last split for BDS and back in winter for SK.
I'm also curious to see how the jungle matchup is going to go today, because both of these teams have been struggling, but Makun and Shio both, when playing at their best, were able to be really proactive, find a lot of plays, and really make a big difference in the first 14 minutes, which is where the issues lie for both. So which jungler is going to come out on top? Well, the one who has a good day is probably most likely going to decide the game.
Do you think that Shiro has got the edge, though, in this matchup?
I think right now, we are only 3 games in. It's hard to say exactly. If you asked me last split, for sure. But if you ask me in winter, I would also say Makun. So I don't really know how it's going to play out here in summer. We'll see.
I'm interested to see what's going to happen in the very early game, particularly around the first Dragon fight. Historically, this has been such a priority for BDS, but also SK too. And on paper, it does go BDS's way.
Look, if my top laner based and every time he based walk down to Dragon, I'd be getting every Dragon, is all I'm saying. That's the Adam way. So if he has stable laning phase, you can expect him to be down there in BDS to try and hit the gas.
Well, he did not have a stable laning phase on Renekton against Astralis last week. So hopefully he's looked back at the demos and he's he's sorted out the situation. I definitely imagine that he has. Right now, though, we are about ready to get into SK versus BDS. So to do so, we need to head over to the baddest boys in the LEC. It's Quickshot and Veddy.